In closing,
In closing, yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And, well, I can pretend to be surprised at how my motion has been received today, but I am not. I would still like to thank my colleagues for their support and their support for promoting small businesses and economic development for our community. And sadly, the same cannot be said for this Labor Greens government. Right here today, we had the opportunity to do something good. We had the opportunity to implement practical strategies to help local businesses weather a storm that has been created by this government. We had the opportunity to show the government reports and bureaucratic reviews are not just an academic exercise or a waste of time, that we listen, we understand and we act. But no surprises here from this government. They promise the world and deliver nothing. The amendment put forward by Mr Steele is nothing but a slap in the face for local businesses. Noting that Light Rail Stage 1 has provided economic benefit to the community is a simplistic way to describe the two-sided impact of this project. Certainly, there has been an increase in construction and engineering jobs associated with this project, but the impact to traders, retail businesses and service providers has been extreme. And we are now talking about a short-lived disruption. We are talking about 2 years of noise, dirt and dust that has driven away custom of so many businesses. Telling us you have made significant progress is yet another smack to local residents and businesses. We know how far the project has come. We try to drive past it every day. The amended motion says that you will continue to update the community. Well, the update should be simple, Madam Speaker. We all want to know when the project will be complete and businesses can start to return to some kind of normal. The amendment also mentions specific government-funded communication. Well, in your own report, 68% of businesses rated the communication to date as not useful at all. That is damning. Again, the government's own report highlights that 84% of respondents said their own adjustments were of better value than the so-called specific communications and industry collaboration provided by the government. Again, what does this say about the government's ability to support business? Business want practical steps to be taken for the things the government can control. The roadworks, construction, scheduling, rates and fees. And here, the amended motion from Mr Steele points to changes implemented on the other infrastructure projects, pointing to the way the Sydney and Melbourne buildings in the city have used naked fencing and bespoke signage, window cleaning and social media videos. Well, that all sounds good and we hope that those businesses are seeing some benefit from those efforts. But with all due respect, the targeted efforts for an inner city project do not help the traders out in my electorate. Perhaps if Mr Steele and his colleagues visited the businesses in the Gungahlin Town Centre on Franklin Road and in Mitchell, they would understand that naked fencing and bespoke signage or whatever other hipster words they want to use are too little too late for businesses in Yerrabee. The Labor Greens government may want to pretend that they are doing what is required, but this could be further from the truth. They can stand here and say they are implementing the lessons. Well, I'm sorry, but that is not true. Businesses all along the light rail corridor want them to prioritise business districts and actually finish the area. Why, after months of empty promises, is the Gungahlin Town Centre still a construction site? Why is there still bollards and closed streets along and dug up pathways? Now, referring to the lessons learnt out of the Business Impact Report, I'd like to refer to Lesson D, greater certainty about timing and delays in construction. The government can still not give a completion date and businesses are still being left in limbo. E, working with landlords to hold rent prices during construction. Surely here there is a role for government to provide some help with negotiations. I know of several businesses that have closed their doors, shut up shop and left the town centre with thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. This is a disgrace and here we hold the opportunity to help those that remain but are close to the line. Instead, what does this government do? Nothing. It sits on its hands and uses spin to talk about marketing campaigns and future projects. F was for better signage, less road closures, and efforts to improve parking and accessibility. Surely here again there are strategies the government could adopt to help promote foot traffic and patronage for local businesses. This stuff isn't rocket science, it's basic town planning, and the government has failed residents in Yerraby on this front time and time again, and they are continuing to fail businesses by pretending it is not an ongoing issue. And this brings me to the last and probably most controversial of all the recommendations and lessons learnt. That is B, financial support and compensation for revenue loss. Now, I'm sure this is the one that scares the government the most, and I can understand that. Perhaps that is why the amendment put forward by Mr Steele is full of so much fluff and fails to mention anything about financial support. Providing compensation for a public infrastructure project could be a dangerous precedent. Why do I think it is justified in this case? Because the government had failed to properly protect and plan for the impact it would cause to businesses. The light rail project had an environmental impact statement, of which barely 2 pages is dedicated to business. They rated the risk as so low that they did not make provisions to protect or promote business during construction. In fact, on page 50 of the EIS, the risk to business is described as, and I quote, low, not potentially significant. Madam Speaker, this makes it even harder to swallow arguments being put forward today. So pretend all you like that businesses will benefit, but I'm not convinced, and more to the point for this motion, you need to be doing more now. As I have argued time and time again, asking people to hold on to the end, to put their houses, their livelihoods on the line is unacceptable. If the government believes they have delivered on the report from September last year, why have they not updated the Assembly or reported back on exactly what they have been doing to help businesses? Why? Because the answer is they have been doing nothing meaningful to say and nothing practical to offer. Again, the amendment from Mr Steele only highlights that fact. So where to now? Well,